right? So we actually have a load problem, but we also have a capacity problem, Erica. And what I ask girls to do today compared to what I asked girls to do 10 years ago is different. Okay. And it is what it is. Those are not things I can change, but what I can impact now is trying to educate parents and educate sport coaches. Look, we need to actually clear some space here for physical development because of the fact these young girls literally have no muscle. They're 14 years old and there's no quads, there's no hamstrings, there's no glutes, there's no strength. I asked them to hop on one foot and they maybe have a 4 centimeter vertical. There's no capacity, right? They can run forever, compensating along the way. They have good, maybe endurance, but jogging, as we know, really develops the calf area of the body, and that is it. We don't get development in any other areas, not in the glutes, not in the hamstrings, not in the quads. You've got to get low, you got to train in those positions, and it's not comfortable. But if you were climbing all the time, you would get into those positions, right? But kids aren't doing that. Or if you were playing hopscotch every recess, every single week, every single day, you would know how to hop on one foot.
Mhm.
Okay, so kids aren't getting that. That's fine. We're not changing it, but what we can impact is clearing space. But we need coaches to cooperate and we need coaches to value it. And if they don't have the education to value these things or see these things, then they shouldn't be coaching.
Hey guys, just want to take a quick moment to shout out our sponsor, Simply Faster, and one of my favorite speed timing systems from them, the Free Lap. I use it for my own sprint training as well as for my athletes, and they love it. It's super easy to set up, you can take it to the field on your own, and you can get accurate speed times to track your progress. Check the Free Lap link in the caption below to start adding timing into your speed sessions. If you know me, you know I love my Free Lap. If you're serious about speed, it's time to start timing. I agree. And I think the load problem is it's just so massive because we're in this epidemic of more practices, more seasons, more training, less recovery. And it's really scary because I even have some girls begging me for more running. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? You're doing this, this, and this. Why do you need me to program more running? And they don't understand why we deload after a season or before preseason. Like they just think it's just this like marathon the whole year. And it just really comes down to just continuing to educate the players and the parents, and then they can advocate with their coaches. And it's just so crazy. No one's talking about load except in our space. And I think it was who did I talk to the other day? It was someone in England who's in the women's pro league there, and they were telling me that they had added 10 more games to the women's professional schedule. And I'm like, okay, everyone's talking about menstrual cycles and hormones, but we're not talking about how many games these women are playing versus how much strength and physical development they're actually getting. It's like, it's so crazy to me. And it is a
I
money
think
maker.
these association like general managers or executive types and coaches, I think we should just ask them to do that. I think we should ask them to train 7 days a week, 365 days a year, twice a day, and see how they fare, right? Because
Yeah.
they don't get it, and it's clearly about money. And you hit the nail with the hammer when you said we need to educate the parents, but the parents are afraid to say anything because as soon as the parents say something, then their kid is ostracized and their kid doesn't get to play because they've made the coach mad, right? So we need a critical mass. The only way things are going to change is if all the parents get together and they say, this is enough. We've we've read this document. We know this is too much. we need to have a conversation about this.
Mhm.
But it's
And
a tough conversation.
it it is, but I would argue, like, for the parents listening who are parents of younger ones, for example, I mean, now's not the time to get too serious. So you have more wiggle room to say no, I think, because
Mhm.
I think the biggest lie parents of young ones are told is if they're not playing year round or on the U10 travel team, that they're not going to ever play in college. And I really want to let parents know that's just
Yes.
it's not the truth at all. And that variety, like Carmen said, is so key in building that foundation. And Carmen, we when we just built our gym, we installed a rock climbing wall. And a couple of my girls can get it, and a lot of them can't climb up the wall. And
Yep.
it's shocking because when we were growing up, we were climbing all the time. Like it was a cakewalk for us to rock climb. And now
Yeah.
you have girls that don't have the upper body strength or the grip strength to be able
Mhm.
to do something like that. It's shocking. And this is stuff I'm observing every single day.
Yeah, myself as well in some sports. And this is not a common problem, just so your readership understands across all sports. I do work in rugby as well, and I've worked at the highest levels in wrestling. And in those sports, I actually worked with coaches that really did understand development and, like you say, off seasons, active rest periods, time off, the importance of strength training, the importance of diversification of motor skills. There's huge buy-in, and I tend to love to be in those sports because of that. The sports that are higher skill sports like soccer, lacrosse, and basketball we tend to see the most ACLs. So those are your top three, not in that order. It's soccer, basketball, and then field lacrosse in the current stats. We tend to see more ACLs as well as less physical development. Yet across every single female sport, they're all getting their periods, FIFA. So why isn't USA Rugby doing a study on the menstrual cycle in rugby? Because they're not trying to necessarily hide the fact that the development model is what needs to be reworked and improved.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the menstrual cycle thing is interesting because I did some